Single ladies, oh. Hey there! Hey guys, welcome to the Empowered Traveler YouTube channel. This is the first video I am posting. I wanted to post it to my Natural Traveler one, but this is a different issue. This is a different topic. So let's get right down to it because I know you hate long introductions. All right, how to stop jumping into relationships. How many of you been there? Really been there. So I'm going to talk about first my experience with this. So when I got out of a 3-year relationship, I jumped into another relationship. It was always jumping for me. Now, after one of my first relationships, when I was in high school, I took a year off. During my freshman year of college, I was single for one whole year. I did have a great time hanging out with one special friend who is no longer friends with me, sadly. But at the same time, instead of enjoying life, I was being a hermit. I was in my dorm. I was constantly depressed. I don't know why. I didn't have the motivation to get up. I didn't do well my first year at a university. Anyway, that all changed. I ended up on the dean's list later. But the point is, that year was the first year I was able to grow, and I decided to jump into another relationship instead, when really I needed to be working on myself. So despite the things that you might see on social media, I know a lot of my friends are married, they're engaged, they have kids. It's like an endless row of marriages and kids, and I feel like sometimes I'm the only one single. Now, I do have at least one particular friend who was single like a minute ago, but now it's like... So I know how frustrating it is for those of you who are single. Now, the purpose of this channel, let me just backtrack a little bit, is to help those women who are single or they're in a relationship but they're kind of unsure. And it's mainly appealing to the young crowd. If you're in your 20s, if you're even 18 or 29, about to be 30. Now I'm 24, and a lot of people like to put all the pressure on the age of 25. So you can imagine how I'm feeling right now. Because I'm traveling, I'm seeing the world, I'm making moves happen, but I'm not at the point where, I have a house, I have a family, I have kids, I settle down, I'm getting this stuff together, this stuff. No. But you know what? Don't do that to yourself. Don't follow the steps that society wants you to take, that you should have a man right now just to have a man. Because you know your own self-worth. And if you keep doing this, you need to take a step back. You need to find yourself. You need to, pray about it or, do something just so that you can truly find yourself. You just need to be alone. I know that sounds terrible. Alone? You need to go out to eat. Alone. What? Go out to eat? But what if people are looking at me? Trust me, it's way harder to do in South Korea, and I know this for a fact because their culture is more of a communal culture. Now, this is coming from the empowered traveler side of me, but in South Korea, it is a lot harder to eat alone than it is in America and other countries. So trust me, you have it easier on not being judged. So if you can do it in America, if you can do it in South Korea, you can do it anywhere. I'm just going to say that right there. Nowadays, they are trying to be more accepting of people eating alone. They're not always going to be in a group. But let me tell you something. The 3 months after a 3-year relationship, before I decided to jump into another relationship, I went to the movies by myself. I went to that Alamo movie theater in San Marcos, I think, or some city that was near it. And I ordered fried pickles, I ordered fried Oreos. I know, unhealthy. I usually eat super healthy, but hey, it was a cheat day. It was a date for myself. It was a date on me. And I laughed at the movie. I can't even remember what movie I watched. I laughed at the movie. I didn't have to worry about someone putting their arm around me. I didn't have to worry about other people talking. I just laughed and enjoyed the movie, It was that first time that I was like, I like being alone. Now, that moment is a reason you got to stop jumping into relationships. Because if you always jump into a relationship, you're only doing it just to have a man. Okay? That is the only reason why you're doing it, is because you don't want to be alone. But here's the thing. You can't expect a guy to fill that void for you. You can't expect him to be your life support. Look, someone who is in a relationship should not be a lifesaver. Instead, that person should be a bonus. That person should add to your happiness. They should not be the only source of your happiness. It's all in your mind. It's all up here, guys. You choose to be happy. No one else does it for you. You can have all kinds of terrible events happening, but at the end of the day, it is up to you to be happy or to be upset. The choice is yours. It's time to grow up. I'm going to be honest. It's time to grow up and be honest with yourself. Okay? Now I'm going to go off topic a little bit, and I apologize, but this is something that has empowered me to travel alone and to not worry about, not having a man or being alone. So, here's a story. I used to date a guy in Canada. It was long distance. I know, stupid. I went to Toronto by myself, but you know what? I went to Toronto on that plane, and I said, I love flying on planes. I just love it. I know, weird. And I still have flown so many planes in Asia, and I still love it. But this trip was the first time I realized I want to travel the world. So, some relationships happen for a reason, and they also end for a reason. Maybe that reason for me was to find my calling, and my calling was to travel, because that first trip to Toronto, when I was on the plane alone, I loved it. And you know what? Some days I was just like, I want some time alone. I don't want to hang out with them. I'm going to go explore Chinatown on my own. That's probably why I ended up going to China later, by the way, because I was just so curious. And I bought these cute little teacups, Canadian things and stuff. And I went out, and I think I bought bubble milk tea. I got my eyebrows done. Girl, I was treating myself, and I was in a relationship at the time, and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I not traveling now? Fast forward, I wanted to travel. The ex was not supportive of it. I broke up with him, and I went to China by myself. First, I went to Hong Kong by myself, and I don't recommend China as a first solo trip, but in all honesty, I'm glad it was my first solo trip, because now traveling is just a breeze. I can handle China. If you can handle China, you can handle I'm not going to say any country, but maybe almost any country. It's just like India, if you can handle India. So yeah, that was the first time I was like, wow, I don't need a man. And so I've been single since February of this year. That's when I traveled China, right? January, February. I've been single until then, and I'm happy to stay that way. If for some reason I'm meant to be single for the next few years, so be it. If I'm meant to be single until I'm 35, hey, I'm okay with that, because you know what? Guys, stop jumping into relationships. Have fun by yourself. Learn to be with yourself. Learn to respect yourself. Learn to raise your values, raise your standards. I know that raising your standards is gonna get you less dates. But let me tell you something, honey. Those less dates are because you want quality, not quantity. Quality. And that's what's important in life. So if you can't respect yourself, how do you expect any guy that you are in a relationship with to respect you? Now, this is something that I was really passionate about. This is an unscripted video, so I apologize if I'm going off on random things, But this is something I feel strongly about. And I think a lot of ladies, not everyone, but ladies who enter relationships end up losing their identity. I've experienced losing my identity because I would get told, oh, hey, how's Nick doing? And it's like no one would ever ask how I am. They just treat us as Nick and I, or Tom and I, or Bill and I. I'm just making up random names, guys, for the sake of protecting people. But and now, what it used to be is when I jumped into relationships, I would always go through this period where friends would be like, oh, you're with, let's say, Tom still, right? I'm like, no. And they're like, are you with Tim? And I'm like, broke up with him a week ago, or this or that. It's like I was that kind of person, which is ridiculous. But now I'm stopping it. I'm staying single. Respect, standards, value, woman. Value. Just respect yourself. As a matter of fact, stop what you're doing. Go get dressed right now. Go put on your fancy dress, whether you are single, whether you are married, whether you are in a relationship. It does not mean you cannot have your alone time. If you are married, if you are single, if you are in a relationship, if you were in some situationship, which please get out of that as soon as possible. Go put on your best dress, or your best skirt, or your best pants and best shirt, and go out to the movies. Go Uber yourself to a restaurant and have some drinks. You can have virgin drinks. You don't have to actually drink to be happy. Go have yourself a nice fancy meal. Take a book. By the way, I highly recommend Fifth Chinese Daughter as a book. I still have yet to read that Jewish book. And enjoy yourself. Enjoy and embrace being alone. Be confident. Instead of being single and being like, oh, look, she's in a relationship on Valentine's Day. Put your head up and say, you know what? I'm happy for that couple. They found love. They found happiness. Stop being bitter. Stop with the bitterness. Stop jumping into relationships just because of what you see. Because what you see may be different from what goes on at home. Focus on yourself. Raise your standards. Respect yourself. And learn that it is okay to be alone. If you need to talk to some friends, talk to some friends. All right, guys, this video is getting way too long. But before I go, I just want to say some things. So I have some friends who are coming around the 28th and 30th of September. And during that time, I will interview them on what it means to be a woman. One of them has agreed to do it. I'll ask the other friend too. And in addition to that, I plan to interview women around the world in only some countries where it's okay. This YouTube channel is not something that I want to monetize. This YouTube channel is something that I want to make a difference. And that's the difference between using a YouTube channel as a marketing tool and using it to inspire people. I want to inspire people. This is a side thing that not only helps you guys, but it also helps me find my purpose. I think it's a win-win. I just want these ladies to be aware that you're not alone. Okay, so in the next video next week, I will be posting videos usually every Friday, sometimes not, that I will be posting a video about what I think it means to be a woman. All right, goodbye on the empowered woman. Actually, you're a queen. If someone else can do it, you can do it too. You're a queen. I don't care what anyone says, you are a queen. I will see you next time. Goodbye on the Empowered Traveler.